going around, I cannot have children, I cannot have children. While they were explaining to me or what the treatment is going to be, what I need to do, and what my life is going to be like, and what options are out there. And, you know, they were trying to console me, because at that stage, tears just started dropping down my eyes. Like, I was tearing up at that stage already. And they're trying to console me, like, oh no, you know, you might not be able to have your own child in the conventional way, or there are other options out there. My mind was freaked out. My mind was freaked out. My mind was not sinking anything else in. It was just, you cannot have kids, you cannot have kids, you cannot have kids, you cannot have kids, you cannot have kids. Imagine being told that at the age of 19. You cannot have kids, you cannot have kids. That was basically what was going through my head. And I started crying. I was crying. I bored. I had to step out. I went to the bathroom. I cried. I cried. I was screaming in the bathroom, and I came back out. I have to give it to them. They really did try to console me and trying to make me feel as if it wasn't the end of the world. And, you know, and I was like, but why me? What's the reason for this? Why is this happening to me? And they told me they couldn't really find a reason why. During that time, I didn't really know there is a word for it. Like, they don't know the reason why. They don't understand they did not really know why it was going on. They don't have a reason for it. And it's idiopathic. So idiopathic meaning the cause is unknown. The reason why I have POI, premature ovarian insufficiency, POF, whichever term you want to use, is unknown. I was like, it's unknown. What do you mean it's unknown? Someone cannot just, at that stage, my head was beginning to explode. So I was crying, and they told me, okay, do you have anyone here that can escort you home? Are you going home alone? Are you alone? I was like, I'm alone. I came alone. And so they allowed me to sit there for a while to just kind of sink in all my emotions and cry. But at that stage, I was like, I don't want to hang around the hospital anymore. I've gotten my news and whatever it is. And then they told me, at that stage, they told me I have to start on treatment. I have to start on HRT. I need to start taking medications and things like that. So they prescribed a medication for me. I'm going to go into the medication details in a different video. So they prescribed a medication for me, and I took a taxi home that very day. I couldn't go back on. I could not take a public transport home. I took a taxi home that day because I was just overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed. My emotions were all over the place. No. When I actually think back at it, that very day was a very difficult day. It was a difficult day. And when I went home, it wasn't any easier, because going home didn't change anything. It still happened. And I remember when I got home that very day, I locked myself in my room. I shut everything out. I cried. I was so angry. Like, I was extremely angry. I was throwing things all over the house. I was screaming. I was calling the God's name in vain. Yes, I did. I was calling his name in vain. Like, why me? Why must this happen to me? After everything I have been through in life, is this how you pay me back? Have I done something wrong to be in this predicament? Have I done something wrong in life? What did I do wrong? Why must this happen to me? Why this? I had so many questions. I was asking so many questions. I was just throwing questions up in the universe, like, what's going on? Why me? Why are you doing this to me? Why is this happening to me? I cried that very day. Like, you just have to cry. There's no way you can just sit down like, okay, it's the universe way. No. I'm gonna be honest, like, I was throwing things around the house. I was screaming, I was banging everything. I was screaming, I was going crazy. I was questioning. That very day was a very emotional day, and I will never forget it, because it's at the back of your mind. It will always be there when you go back and think back to the very first day you actually received that type of news. It's not easy. It's not an easy situation. It's not an easy thing to be told at all. And So that was the very first time, and those were my emotions, and that's how I felt on that very first day. And of course, and then I had to, then 2 days, 3 days later, I locked myself. 2 to 3 days later, you don't get over it, but you have to start taking care of yourself, going to the right treatments, and you kind of just have to then learn how to live with it. But that takes a long process. That's a process. It's not something that just happened the next day. You're like, okay, it happened, I'm ready to move on with my life. It doesn't. It takes a long process, and it takes a toll on you. And to be honest, right now, and the fact that over the years I've actually read so much about POF, because I was not told much by the gynecology. It was just a brief, or you have this condition. We don't know the reason why for that, because it's you have to go on HRT to be able to protect your bone density and to protect your heart, and among other things as well too. And because your body is not producing estrogen, it's like it's supposed to on the, so you have to take hormone replacements to take care of yourself. So, and yeah, that's really it, guys. So for me, when after all this ordeal happened, actually thinking back right now, there were so many signs back then that if I knew, I would have probably like I would have probably seek medical advice sooner if I knew. But all you can really say is, if I knew, you can't go back in time and change time. It's just the way it is. You can only make a difference. You can only talk about your experience. You can only share your experience out there to let people know if these are the things that you're feeling and there's no other aspect in your life that is contributing to it, then you need to go out and seek medical advice. And sometimes I think about it, if this friend of mine never came my way at all, I would have just go about my life for the rest of my life, probably until about 25, and I think I haven't had a period. And who knows what effect that would have had living from 15 up to 25. Who knows? So I have actually made a few lists on things that I want to share with you guys that I have learned. I feel like, and so let's just get into it. So I have wrote down 5 things that I'm going to share with you guys. So I think everyone knows what the common sign is. One of the common signs. It's very obvious, it's very out there, but sometimes we intend to maybe ignore it and then make excuses and say, okay, it's because I'm stressed, because I'm going through this in my life, that's why I'm not getting my period. Irregular period or completely skipping period, you're not getting period at all, nothing at all. That is the main number one reason. You have to really look and see what is causing you from what you have to really look and see, okay, what exactly is affecting you from getting your period. Why are you not getting your period at all, or you're getting irregular period? What has changed in your life that's causing that? If there's nothing specific that you feel that has actually caused you from getting irregular period or stopping bleeding completely. If you've not been bleeding for a year or 2, definitely I will advise you to seek medical advice. Speak to somebody, get a GP, go speak to a GP, speak to somebody, get your GP to examine you. Number 2, hot flash and night sweat. Yes, I remember when I think about it right now, when I was younger, I used to get hot flashes, but you don't really think much into it like that. You think you're going through puberty because, although I wasn't going through any, at that age, but I used to sweat a lot, and I remember, but to me at that age, I didn't really think much into it because I didn't think it was anything that I had to think much of. So night sweat and hot flashes, number 2. Number 3, mood swings. I have to say mood swing. My mood swing, I will say my mood swing has improved, but in some other cases, my mood swing, I get crazy mood swing. But when I was younger, my mood swing was really, really bad because I do remember I worked in retail one time when I was younger, and I remember I was very my mood would be one, I would be very like happy one moment, and the next moment my face changes. It's as if I'm not in the mood. I don't want to talk to anybody. I'm angry. I'm upset. Although there were other things I was going through then, but at the same time, my mood was just all over the place, all over the place. Even up to now, my mood is still all over the place. But I am more aware of my mood swings. When I'm having them, I know that I'm having them, and just give me my personal space to get over it, and I'll be back to my normal side, my normal self. But when I was younger, it was much harder because I didn't really understand what was going on, why I was feeling this way. Number three, memory change, or like they call it. I've always had issue with my memory, always. I've always been very forgetful, especially when it comes to names. I know for some people it's probably normal, but like I said, me actually thinking back now, these were all part of the symptoms of POI, but it was just never, diagnosed on time, because I wasn't diagnosed on time. I went 4 years with her period, so I wasn't diagnosed on time. So, these were all part of the signs that I was not aware of. So mood swing, like I said, irregular period, or completely skipped period, hot flashes and night sweat, and mood swings, memory change. And then one of the things for me, I know that was a huge problem for me right from time, was lack of concentration. So I've always had difficulties concentrating, but it has dramatically improved. But I've learned to kind of try to manage it. When I feel as if my concentration is being lost on something, I take a break from it. I walk away, I do other things to distract myself. Then I come back into it and try. And so I know, like, for me now, I know the things that I know the things that work for me. I know how to manage my lack of concentration. And also sleep as well too. If you're not getting enough sleep and there's no other aspect in your life that's contributing to a lack of sleep, for me personally, this was me. This is the things that I was suffering through that I did not know. And if I have had to kind of really sit down and internalize and really think, okay, and then you then begin to say, okay, these were the reasons. When this was happening, this was because of this. And then everything just kind of comes together. And that's really it, guys. I just really want to share that 5 signs with you guys. So definitely, if you feel like say any of that is within your range, and you feel like there's nothing in your life that's really contributing to it, definitely go out there, especially the period part of things. The period, if you're having no period at all, and you're at the age of having period, you've not had period for like 3 to 4 years, or even a year, 6 months, you need to see somebody about that for sure. Definitely. All right, guys, so that's me. That's my story. And feel free to share your story with me as well, because I want to know, because everybody's story is different. When was the first time you were diagnosed? How did you know you had POF? What were the steps that you had to go through to be diagnosed with this POF? So definitely let me know. And I'm going to leave it there today, and I shall see you guys on my next video. Have a nice day. Bye now.